I have no problem with.
You are listening to KC Sports Network, the #1 podcast network for today's Kansas City sports fans. With former players from your favorite teams, informed perspectives, and former insiders, this is the place for you. You can find us wherever you listen to podcasts, or on our YouTube channel, all over social media, or our morning newsletter, KCSN Daily, dedicated to your Kansas City Chiefs. KC Sports Network is proudly presented by Emprise Bank, your partner in possible.
What's going on, Chiefs Kingdom? Welcome to 21 Questions. I'm BJ Kissel, joined by my pals, Mr. Mike DeVito and Mr. Tucker Franklin. Mike, how we doing tonight?
BJ, doing great, brother. Thank you guys for having me on. How you guys doing?
Doing well. I'm so ready for this game. I got sick of talking about the Chiefs Bengals, and I'm already sick of talking about Chiefs Eagles. I just need the game to be here.
Yeah,
That's
no,
enough.
I'm totally with you. This week, this time of this week is tough because it's just like, all right, let's get to it. You know, they're media trying to drum up storylines and trying to come up with new angles, and it just gets ridiculous. It's like, all right, let's go now.
Tucker, how we doing tonight?
Good, man. I'm excited to be live for this 21 Questions sponsored by Macadoodles. Got to give a shout out to Macadoodles as always. Great place to find any wine, liquor, spirits, anything you need. Go check out Macadoodles on Lee Summit. There's going to be more locations popping up all over the place in Kansas City, so make sure you are staying tuned with those guys. But super excited to be talking with Mike. We got a lot of questions from the Discord. We'll be taking questions live, but we got a lot of questions for Mike.
I love it. Let's rock.
Yes, this is our favorite show because we get to talk about things that you want us to talk about. And I already got Themisto D. You're all in hoodies. Must not be in Arizona. You are exactly correct. We're in the friendly confines of the snowy Kansas City right now. Like I said, we appreciate it. Tucker mentioned Macadoodles off the top. Love our partnership with them, and I already talked with them last week. And then when the Chiefs win the Super Bowl, we're going to go do another live show over in Lee Summit at the Macadoodles over there. So that will be a good time. But yeah, like they said, if you're watching on YouTube or on Twitter, wherever you're watching us, please shoot us those questions and let us know. We've got some from our Discord and our subscribers to the KCSN Substack. And then anybody watching live, go ahead and shoot us those questions or comments. We'll react to them. We're going to have some fun over the next 35 minutes or so. Tucker, why don't you get us started with some of the questions from the Discord?
So I put out on the Discord that Mike was joining us. Lots of people had questions for Mike. This is the first one. This is from Zach Oracle, Meta McGorkin. He said, "What's the key to getting past someone as goated as Jason Kelce?"
Yeah, it's so difficult because Kelce is one of those rare offensive linemen that has both athleticism and power. Yeah. And what I saw when I watched film on the Eagles is it's not just Kelce, but their combination blocks up front. I mean, they just look good. And this seems to be something that teams have gotten away from because everything is so much pass, and then you have zone runs, and you're not seeing as much of the sort of double team downhill stuff. What I see from Philly is they can really do that, and Kelce is able to do that well up front. As a former defensive lineman, I used to really enjoy playing on the nose and on a, head up on the nose or in a one shade, because usually the center is a mismatch, right? It's normally a smaller guy. It's normally a guy you can get under. They have to snap the football, so you're already attacking a hand that's going backwards. So I always liked playing against the center, but there was a few that were very difficult. And I actually had a chance to play against Kelce. What was it, 2000? When did we play out there? He was on the team in 2013, I believe, and he was their starting center when we played out there in Philly. And he's a heck of a player. I mean, he's one of those guys too that has a lot of grit. He's not a guy that you can just, put it to him a couple times and he's going to pack it in. I mean, he's going to keep fighting the whole game. So I think the key with Kelce is you have to be consistent. You have to be consistently on your game in the pass rush, have a game plan, have a first move out the gate and then a counter ready because he's got great sets. I mean, he's just an all around. There's a reason he's an all pro. And so with those guys, it's got to come down to the mental game. You have to be able to outsmart them, be able to play that chess match, and be one or two steps ahead mentally.
Mike, I think I know the answer to this question, but Did you talk a lot of trash when you were on the field? Did it turn for you? Because you're such a nice guy. I remember talking to you after games in the locker room, and you immediately just went back to, I'm just a nice guy. I'm just here to contribute. I'm just gonna do my thing. I was like, I saw you in the trenches with a bunch of grown men doing things that very few people in the world understand the mental of what it takes to be in those moments and in the trenches in that kind of way. Did you talk a lot?
BJ, no, brother. I used to get so tired. So I would try. Now, I was 300. I mean, look, it's still there. Look at this. I mean, it's just, I was so heavy. And I've talked about this so much on our show, but like the game has changed so much. And when I got into the league, I could be 320 pounds and not have to move too far, right? It's like, just take on double teams, take on scoop blocks. And so that's what I got good at doing. But I didn't have a lot of gas in the tank, I guess. Every few plays, I was tapping like, come get me. So, I didn't have the energy to talk trash. I was like, I need to get my breath,
Mike, I'm curious. I'm curious too, because this is a question coming from me. This isn't a question from anywhere else. At the start of a game, you know how I saw someone I think it was George Karloftis got asked this question during media days, but I want to get your opinion on it. As a guy who is, a run defender, do you kind of have like a script, much like the offense has a script of like kind of what moves you're going to do, kind of what you're going to do? Is it all just reacting in the moment?
Yeah. So you're talking about in a pass rush situation or
Yes.
yeah. So yeah, that was key for me because I didn't have the athletic ability to just get off the football and be able to, react on the fly. Right. Yeah. So I would always go to the line with two moves in mind. Right. So it'd be like, okay, on this one, I'm going to try a chop rip. And if it gets stuck, I'm going to try to hump, I'm going to try to hump around to the other side. A lot of times everything just ended up being a bull rush with me because it was like, all right, that didn't work. Just bull rush, close the pocket. Yeah. But that was key. But I know there are other players that kind of stuff slows them down. Right. So like Dontari Poe was a guy who didn't want to think, he didn't want that information, right? I would tell him, oh yeah, hit this guy with this and that, or make sure you're over here. And he's like, I don't want to hear that. Like, I just need to line up and react. That's where I'm at my best. So it's all, I guess it's all depending on the player, but I needed a plan, especially in the pass rush, because it just wasn't my specialty.
Yeah. Makes all sense.
This show is going to go off the rails, Mike, because I have all of these stories and all these things that I want to bring up about that. But
I love it.
I was having a conversation while producing a segment inside of. Hold on a second, guys. Say hi.
I've done.
Everybody on the live show. I told you this is going to happen. Tucker.
Yeah.
Hey.
What is that? Captain America?
It is Captain America. It's my son's costume that my daughter has got on. All right. You go down and say hi to mommy. But I knew that was going to happen, Tyler. I told you she was going to make an appearance.
Your kids are so much better behaved. My kids come and cuss me out. They're like, what the hell? Get off. Like, we need food, man. Get off the thing.
Full disclosure, I'm pretty open. I'm just glad she was wearing clothes at this point.
We were interviewing Stone Street the other day, and my son came right here, and like, I'm nervous, right? Because I'm trying to like navigate the interview, and it's freaking Stone Street. So it's like, and he's like right there, and he's cussing me out because he's hungry, and I'd forgotten to feed him. He's cussing at me. I'm like, please just leave. Please, I'll get it done.
That's funny. No, I was going to talk to you about that because one of the players and I was referencing this, and I don't want to tease it because we haven't announced yet, Mike, for your show that's coming out tomorrow night, the special segment inside of it. But the two people that were on it, we were having a conversation, and I brought up having a conversation during training camp. It was between when we were recording, I was producing it, but we had a conversation about Tamba because Tamba told me it was a production meeting for a preseason. We ended up spending like 30 minutes talking about this one thing, where he was saying how throughout a game, he would use certain moves and pressure points and hit guys in certain ways and hit tackles in certain spots for an entire game with moves that weren't working at the time. So he literally set it up. So in the fourth quarter, he would hit him in another spot. And because of the combination, like their whole body would go limp and he would run through and make a play. And he's mentally thinking through that throughout the game of setting something up, knowing it's not working in the moment. Like, I'm going to keep hitting it here. So in the crunch time, in a huge moment, I'm going to be able to make a play. And that level of like chess match stuff fascinates me.
Do you guys know Magnus Carlsen? He's the number one chess player in the world.
Mhm.
And they just talk about how he's like impossible to beat because he's 5,000 steps ahead of everybody. He's got the whole game played out already in his head. That was Tamba. And here's what makes Tamba so deadly is Tamba has what Chris Jones has or what Frank Clark has, Justin Houston has, where he has all the physical ability. He is incredibly explosive. He's a mixed martial artist. He's got great hand techniques. But what you said, when you couple all those, physical sort of tangible attributes with the mental game that Tamba would play, I mean, he was the Magnus Carlsen of pass rush. I mean, he just was 5 steps ahead. And you would see these offensive tackles and they would just put their hands up because it's just like, I don't know what to do. I just don't know what to do. I even remember this when I was in New York. We had DeBrickashaw Ferguson, who will be a Hall of Fame left tackle. And he was like, I cannot stand playing against Tom Holly. I can't stand it. He is just the worst guy all year. Whenever we have to deal with him, it's awful. And I remember that from being in New York. So yeah, Tom is a special dude.
Yeah. When you said Magnus, I thought you were talking about the power lifter. So that's why I was like, yeah, because I know you've got the history of like powerlifting in your family. I was like, we're talking about world's strongest man. Magnus, like whatever that guy's like.
I was trying to be that guy.
The giant balls, like move them over. I was like, you got a history with powerlifting. Was it your dad was like a power lifter? What was
my dad was a professional power lifter, professional bodybuilder. But here's the difference in the NFL. If you're the professional bodybuilder, you'll be an average guy or backup. If you're the Magnus Carlsen, if you're the chess master like Tamba, you'll get paid $50 million a year. So I chose the wrong profession. I chose the wrong philosophy.
Yeah, we got more questions about the defensive side of the ball and kind of this matchup too for you here, Mike. This comes from Craig Stout. Wants to ask you a question here.
Craig.
Our guy, he says, how would Mike defend the read option as a defensive end in this scheme?
Yeah, it's hard as a defensive end. So the defensive end is at the sort of critical junction there, and it's all going to depend on how the defense is designed, right? So I should be more familiar with the Eagles than I am. When we were playing the read option stuff and the zone read stuff when I was there, it had just gotten into the league, and you always had to tell because it came out of certain formations, whether it be a pistol set or a near gun or something. And it was always like, okay, this is that crap. Everybody sort of settle down. Nowadays it's become so part of everybody's routine that you can't just hone in on it. What was key remember one thing when you're playing those types of offenses, whether it's zone read option, whatever it is, you don't want to chase things, right? As a 3 technique, if I would get like those moving double teams, those scoop blocks, normally my reaction was to get on that guard and stay with him and ride that thing down as flat as I could because I didn't want that guard to get up to the linebacker. On the zone read option stuff, they want you to do that because they want to wash you down so that they have these wide open edges. And so we would have to, what we would do is when we would get those formation tells, everybody would really just go straight ahead. It was like, don't trust your normal instinct of chasing guys. Just go straight ahead. And so that was how we changed it up. Now, again, it comes out of all kinds of different personnel groups now. And so, it's hard for those guys, but I think there are going to be defensive calls that are specific to, that are going to have built-in mechanisms to deal with that, the zone read and the read option stuff.
When you tell Chris Jones he didn't have to read anything, he just get upfield. I just hear the Leroy Jenkins and the guys just going forward.
Well, that's exactly right. I mean, and think about Dontari. I mean, that's what same thing. Yeah. That's what Poe used to do. And I think one of the best games Poe had in his career was against Kelsey and the Eagles. I remember he got a game ball for that game because he just 100 miles an hour up the field. And that's all Chris has to do. I mean, what makes Chris so special is he's like 7'10". The dude's gigantic, but he plays 2 inches from the ground. When you have a guy like that, the leverage that he can generate, it doesn't matter who you are. You cannot stop it. And so, yeah, I agree with you. The best game plan for Chris Jones is just 100 miles an hour upfield.
All right, Tuck, I'm going to bring in a question from YouTube. This one's from John Johnson right here. Do you think our offensive line got a good test through the season to prepare for the Eagles' defensive line? Tuck, do you want to take this one?
Yeah, I do think they saw some pretty good defensive fronts this season when you just talk about even coming off of the Bengals. The Bengals had a really good offensive front that they handled really well. Andrew Wiley had a good game against Sam Hubbard and Trey Hendrickson. I know Trey Hendrickson has really caused the Chiefs fits ever since he was back with the Saints. When they played him in the Saints, they caused them a lot of fits. So I do think the Chiefs have seen some pretty darn good pass rushers. And if you know their division stacked up on some pretty good pass rushers. So this isn't going to be out of the ordinary for the Chiefs offensive line to see some elite level pass rushers. And even on the interior offensive line, you look at the guys that they have on the interior. They signed Ndamukong Suh. They've added a bunch of guys in the midseason after Jordan Davis got hurt. And Jordan Davis is a dude who is going to be probably a world crusher too. So they've got a good defensive front, but I do think that this is going to be nothing out of the ordinary for the Chiefs, because if you look at their schedule up and down, they've had to face good pass rushers all season.
I concur.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I mean, you know what's nice about this game? This really is your two best teams in the NFL. Like, nobody snuck through. Nobody got a lucky win. It's not like you're playing number 3 or number 4. These are the two best teams. It seems like, you know, you talk about the defensive line, but it seems like every level, everybody's well matched. Like, it's gonna be fun. There's no like lopsided. Oh, they have an advantage here. I think the one lopsided thing would be if Mahomes was totally healthy. Now I think you got a real issue. But with Mahomes being his ankle, I think things are really even. And so, but that's going to be a fun matchup to watch, as those big guys up front.
Absolutely. Mike, got another question for you, because this, no surprise, this game is very centered around the run game, right?
Yeah.
I think the Eagles are a very run-heavy team. But before I ask you this question, Mike, this is a professional tease. I got to tell you about our friends at DraftKings Sportsbook. And are you ready for the biggest Sunday in sports? DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 57, has all the Super Bowl action you need. New customers can bet just $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Plus, all customers can get in on the Super Bowl 57 excitement with DraftKings Happy Hour Super Boost. I've been taking advantage of these. You should go check it out right now at the DraftKings Sportsbook app every day between 5 and 8 p.m. Central Time to see what prop bet will be boosted. Actually, looking at the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now, you can opt in either team to score 30-plus points in Super Bowl 57, boosted to plus 100. That expires at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 8 p.m. Central Time if you're watching live. If you're listening to this after the fact, you're probably not going to get in on that. But here's what you got to do. You got to download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code KCSN. New customers can bet $5 on Super Bowl 57 and get $200 in bonus bets back instantly. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code KCSN. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See the show notes for details. All right, Mike, here's the big question. Arizona-bound Mike wants to ask you, he says, Big Mike, love what you bring to KCSN. How did you prepare for a team that you knew wanted to be run first?
Oh, that's a great question. Before we get that, Tucker, you are incredible at reading those.
I've done it a lot. That's all it is.
Bro,
I've just done it a lot. That's it.
I am so bad that we had to cut mine out so that you could do it. Like, we have to edit the show so that you can read it, because I suck so bad. I was like, damn, he's freaking still going.
He's so happy they gave him that compliment.
Oh,
Mike. He's so he's beaming right now because I gave him such a hard time because he'd do a 60-second read and it would take like 2.5 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, Tucker, get to the point, man. Like, get back to the content.
I'd be chopping it up like this, and then I'd have to do a read, and I'd be like, and thank you to DraftKings. How did I prepare for a team who loves to run the ball? That was my favorite game to get ready for, because that was my entire career was playing the run. So I would make sure Monday I would get in there, and what I would do is I would hop on that Exos program. I don't know if they even still use Exos or whatever they use, but
they don't have those rooms anymore, buddy.
They don't have those
iPads.
Rooms. They're all on iPads.
Those into offices.
Yeah, that would screw me up. I need that TV. The iPad was hard to sort things. So like I would go to, okay, top personnel. Okay, their top personnel is 21 personnel. Okay, out of this, in Near Eye, they've run 10 powers. They've run, 5 bosses. And I would just memorize all of their runs. And then what I would do is test myself. So Wednesday, we'd have 9-on-7 to start the sort of heavy practice, so our run drill. And I would line up and look at backfield sets. And I wanted to make sure that I was so tuned in to their offensive run game by the time we got to Wednesday that I could call out the runs to the other guys based off of what I seen in the backfield sets.
Yeah.
And so I love that. The reason why I had to come home and couldn't play anymore is because nobody runs the friggin' football. So like this is like, I see Philly playing and I'm like, man, I'm looking at my child and thinking this would be a fun game to play in. But yeah, no, but that's, I mean, my biggest thing was study. Again, even in the run game, I didn't have a ton of athletic ability. I wasn't having any sort of advantage in that respect. I was stronger than the guys I was playing against. And if I was smarter and could put myself in the better position, I could win those blocks all day. And I mean, we would test all the different blocks constantly. And so whether it be a double team, tray box, scoop, whatever it is, the sort of whatever they call them. Gosh, I love that. I miss that. I miss that stuff. That was the one thing. Stopping the run is sort of the one thing I could look at in my life and said, yeah, no, I was superb at that. Like, I haven't done anything else well, but like at that, I friggin' figured that out.
This has been your mindset from the beginning, because I know you and I have joked about this before. I will never forget going up to you after the game at Denver, and I think you got your second or third sack of the year, and it was like a career high. And I was like, hey, man, like, I asked you a question. I was like, yeah, your career high in sacks. He's like, don't promote that, man. It's like 3 sacks.
It was 2 at the time. I got one more.
Yeah. Like, don't talk about that.
Yeah,
on, man.
And it's so hard. It's just so incredibly hard to get sacks in the NFL. It is.
No.
You have to have incredibly, you can get lucky, which is why, my last year the seas would just part and I was back there. I mean, it was a nice way to end my career. But you have to be so fast twitched. You have to be able to stop on the dime and react, because the offensive lineman isn't going to give you the first move. And I could generate force going upfield. Right. So first burst out of my stance, boom, I could do that all day. But the second I had to stop and switch or stop and go back outside, I just couldn't generate that second, the explosiveness to be successful on the second move. I just didn't have that.
My favorite was your sack. I think, BJ, you're talking about the sack in Denver against Brock Osweiler. Hit him with the dab at the end of it. I know you
it was historic dad. Like, there's nobody within like 10 yards of you, and like just right on camera, right in the center of the field.
That whole year, beautiful. I was going up to Justin Houston in practice. I'm like, hey, if I get a sack, what am I doing for a dance? And he's like, do this. You got it. You got it.
That's awesome.
Justin Houston talks. You listen.
That's it.
All right, so there's a lot of questions about the run game, but let's get to something a little less serious, Mike.
Okay.
Bruce in the Fort, he asked, what would Mike's choice of seltzer flavor be to chug?
Ooh, I'm Italian, so I'm a big seltzer guy. I don't know if I can shout out what I'm drinking on here right now. Love seltzer. Everything, just seltzer all the time. Wait, are you talking about those hard seltzer things that you drink on TikTok?
Yeah, I think that is what
seen those things.
What's being talked about.
This is actual seltzer.
Right. Are you drinking the P word?
Yes, the P word. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You're fine Italian seltzer water. Those hard seltzers look terrible.
They're not good.
I don't know how you do it. Maybe like a Jolly Rancher flavored one. Like, I need something real sweet. What did you did one time? Damn. You rated it high too. You did one time. Like, yeah, I could see that. The flavor, it was like a lemonade or tea or something like that. And I was like, oh, maybe I could go with that.
I do like, so there's like a soda pack. I think Bud Light did like a soda pack. And then they had like a lemon lime one, and it tasted just like Sprite. And I think that's why I liked it so much, is it tasted like a soda, not like a seltzer.
I remember agreeing with you because I watched those videos. Like, yeah, no, I probably would like that one, but it just seems, I mean, I'm not a big, like, I don't really drink alcohol, but it just seemed like if I was I would choose like a Corona or something. I would never choose a seltzer thing.
Something
like Corona Limonada seltzers, which are hard to find, are actually not bad.
Really?
Just like strawberry lemonade ones. They're not bad. I'm not a huge seltzer guy, but
are they sugar? Like, are they adding sugar to these drinks, or is it just a flavoring?
I should know. I don't pay any attention, man. I just drink it. And like,
Some
if it tastes good, I drink. I'm at the point in my life I don't really care.
Yeah,
like what it looks like. Ask Tucker. We were in Vegas and I ordered a drink and it was like bright pink, and I was like, you know what? I don't care. It tastes good.
That's right. That's right.
Who am I trying to impress?
That's right. I'm up for anything. I'm with you.
Like a hibiscus margarita, I think that's what it was.
That
I
sounds
didn't know
good.
it.
That sounds good.
I didn't know it was going to be pink, and then I looked at the menu and there's like gigantic picture of it. I was like, oh, I should have known
this
that.
is false advert. No, wait, actually, it is pink.
Yeah, it's right there.
All right, I got another question. This is from Rugby Fox here. Who is the most likely unsung hero on Sunday for the Chiefs offense and the defense? Get both of your picks.
Unsung hero.
I'll go real fast because I think Jerick McKinnon, I don't know how unsung he is at this point, but between the pass rush, you connect the dots of getting rid of the ball quickly, Andy Reid's ability to put together a game plan that gets the defensive lineman thinking horizontal, and Mike can probably speak to that too. He's so good with, you can't block him, you can't just line up a tight end and chip him all the time. At least get him thinking horizontal left to right and make him, I guess, make that indecision be a benefit for you to give you a little bit more time for something to develop. You know, the ball is going to be out quick. Travis Kelce's going to get a lot of attention.
Right.
Those Texas routes, shoot routes, those kinds of things out of the backfield, McKinnon's been so deadly with that. If there's an area of the Eagles team that you want to attack, it's the second level. We've talked about that throughout the week. It's the linebackers. Andy Reid, pre-snap motion. He window dresses an inside zone better than anybody that you'll see with everything going on. And then defensively, I want to say the safeties. I think there's going to be a handful of shots down the field to Devonta Smith. They're going to take shots to him. But this defense has played its best when Justin Reed and Juan Thornhill are tackling well, and they're coming up and making plays, and especially with the zone read, the running game stuff that the Eagles love to do, whether they drop a guy down in the box or sit in it too high, mix it up, whatever they do. Safety's got to tackle in this game, and I think another opportunity for Juan Thornhill to go and make a play.
Yeah, that's good. You know, it's hard, Bita. You said it because it's like this team is full of all-stars. Like unsung is kind of hard to use as a descriptor for any of these guys. How about Saunders on the defensive line? I mean, I think, you know, given the run game, I think I could see him putting in a lot of work that might not get him the stats, but being key in stopping that run by playing his technique. He's your run stopping guy now. And he's so explosive. He can do all the stuff in the pass rush game, but he's a great run defender. So I'm looking at him to sort of play a big role. And again, those guys don't get a ton of, he ain't going to get a ton of stats probably, because especially with those guys he has behind him flying downhill 100 miles an hour. But if he plays those run techniques well, if he's in there and really clogging up that line, that'll be huge. And he's going to be right up there on Kels. So, and then
want that man to catch a touchdown.
Oh yeah, that'd be nice. Why I'm blanking on the right tackle's name?
Andrew Wiley.
Yeah, I want to see Wiley because you know the other four guys, you expect them. I mean, they're all pros and Pro Bowlers and stuff like that. You expect them to do what they do. Wiley, he's certainly a good player. I'm not saying he's a bad player, but if you're going to say this is the guy on the line that we're going to go after, it's him. So can he hold up to the pressure of being a very good player, but not as good as the other four guys, which means he's going to be at the target of the defense. Like, hey, we got to take advantage of, if we're going to get a pass rush, let's get it on this side. So let's see if he holds up well. I think he will.
That's what I was going to go with, was Andrew Wiley. And I think Nate Taylor brought this up. I can't remember if it was this week or last week's episode, but he basically was saying like, hey, they brought a lot of chip help. Orlando Brown had some chip help. So they had to kind of leave Andrew Wiley all on his lonesome with Sam Hubbard. And he did very well on that against Hubbard. And he got flagged for that, for taunting, but like
taunt. Do it.
I mean,
take the flag.
If you're dominating that guy, you got to let him know every now and again.
Take the damn
so
flag.
I think we might look back at that penalty if the result of that game was a little bit different. But I think now that the result of the game came out the way it did, I do like Andrew Wiley a lot in that circumstance. And I'm another guy on the offensive side of the ball. Maybe Clyde. Maybe Clyde is a guy who comes in and, you know, I don't expect him. Me personally, I don't expect him to come in and have a huge role. Maybe a minimum role, but maybe see a little bit more routes than maybe what a Ronald Jones would see. But maybe he can come in and be like, oh, you know, you guys forgot about me. That could be a fun little thing.
Let me ask you what, and maybe this is just me focusing so much on the defense, but why did he fall out of favor? Was it injuries or was it his actual play or?
Get a high ankle sprain. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So and then Pistachio just took over.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just killing it. Yeah. Okay.
That dude's he's good, man. He runs angry. He does everything you want to in running back. And
yeah, he's tough. He's tough.
Seth Kaiser and I were talking about just his evolution from week one. Even you see his vision evolve from week one all the way to now. It's been great. It's been great. Defensive side of the ball, I think linebackers are gonna have to be big in this game, especially we talk about a run heavy attack. Linebackers, both sides. That's a Matty answer, I know, Matty Lane answer, but with the whole group.
Shout out Matty Lane.
I got one back for you, Tuck. We're going to bring a couple questions in here, back to back from Darren. We're going to do rapid fire questions now. Yep. We'll just do one person per answer, as we got about 10 minutes here left on the show. But this question is from Darren Schurer. Only one unit can play elite, the safeties or the linebackers, Tuck. Who you choose? I'm assuming for the Chiefs.
Oh, yeah. I think linebackers, because with the run game, I think the linebackers are more important in the run game. The safeties, linebackers.
All right, we got another one from Darren, back to back. How many times will Philly go for it on fourth down? Over, under 3.5. Mike,
I would say under 3.5. But I wouldn't be surprised if you see it. But geez, 3.5. I mean, if you say four times going for it on fourth down, that seems like a lot.
That's a lot. That's a lot of fourth and shorts, is what I see. I like to think positive, and that they're going to be fourth and longs, and they're not going to want to go for it.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Yeah, that's good.
Positive thinking here.
I got a rapid fire question for you, BJ. Is it implausible? Is it implausible that we win by 2 scores like I'm thinking we will? This is from Carrender.
No, I don't think some of the advanced analytics. I tweeted out a thread. Actually, let me go see if I can find it real quick and give this gentleman some credit. Some Sharp Clark NFL. Not familiar with his work until this, so I read it on the internet. So I'm assuming that this information is correct based on who he's following and some of the information. But he's basically saying that he thinks the Chiefs should be favored, and there's a lot of advanced numbers. When you take a closer look at some of the peripheral stats that we're looking at, that there's some more information here that's important. The jargon isn't going to make sense if I read it off. But long story short, it's the amount of pressures that lead to sacks are what Philly's really good at, but they've never faced a quarterback with all of those pressures and sacks who can get out of things like Patrick Mahomes. And it goes on to say a lot of Philly's sacks were against poor offensive lines, poor quarterbacks in situations in which the percentage chance of winning for the Eagles or for the team that had the ball was less than 40%, I believe. So it's like, they're up. The opposing team is down by 2 scores. It's already a bad offensive line or a struggling offensive line and a quarterback who's not real mobile. That's where a lot of the sacks from Philly, not to say those guys aren't good, but just to say that they haven't faced Patrick Mahomes. And I talked about it with Trevor Sikkema from Pro Football Focus all year. It was our favorite thing to talk about, or my favorite thing to discuss with him was that Patrick Mahomes was pressured among the 5 most quarterbacks in the NFL, but he was sacked among the 5 least amount in the NFL. And it's just his ability to understand where the pressure is coming from, where his protection is. And if he's going to escape the pocket, we think it's just crazy creative playing, which it is to a big extent, but he also understands where he's going, what he's doing, where the pressure is coming from, where the protection and all of that kind of stuff. And so, for those reasons, and a lot of this type of information coming out regarding the strength of schedule that Philly has played, the experience the Chiefs have, Andy Reid, Steve Spagnuolo, these guys have been there before. They've played very well, and they've had game plans in these moments, and they have answers for everything. That I would be a lot more surprised if the Eagles won by a couple scores than if the Chiefs won by a couple of scores. And I do think that it will be a close game, but I would be utterly shocked if the Chiefs lost by a couple of scores. I really wouldn't be that surprised if the Chiefs ran away with it, just because Eagles haven't faced anybody this year like what they're going to see with the Chiefs offense.
No doubt. Yeah, no doubt.
We're still in the rapid fire mood here. I've got one.
I wasn't sure. I was kind of like, damn, what are we doing? Should I talk?
Tucker, get this one for Mike.
Here you go, Mike. Here's our friend Charles Goldman wants to know, who's your best guess at defensive line MVP in the Super Bowl? Will it be Chris Jones or Frank Clark?
Oh, I would say Chris Jones. I'd say Chris Jones. But, Frank Clark, obviously he's on the outside, so you'd think somebody like that is going to have more opportunities to get sacks, more opportunities to make big plays. But man, Chris Jones just gets it done from the inside. I mean, he's just unstoppable. Now, I mean, so Frank's so you got Lane Johnson on one side. He's a hell of a player.
Yeah.
Who's the left tackle?
I have pulled up.
I would imagine. So I imagine you're going to line up 55 on the right, and have him going. Yeah, that's tough. I don't know. I can see it going both ways because I'm thinking, Chris has to deal with those guys up front, and clearly they're going to be double team and triple teaming him up there. But yeah, I'm still going to say Chris. I'll go with Chris.
Jordan Matiala.
Yeah,
I think that's how you pronounce
it. He's a good player too.
He is good. Yes.
Yeah.
He is very good. They've got. I think they're the only offensive line that has everyone ranked in the top 10 of PFF's offensive line grades.
PFF's so good too. PFF is so good. Like they are on their stuff. So that's awesome. Yeah, that's tough.
Except when it comes to Patrick Mahomes' grades.
They're good at everything except Patrick Mahomes. Yeah.
Oh, they haven't figured out how to positively grade a quarterback running to his left, running to his right, and throwing opposite hash across the field.
Okay.
Like that's a bad idea. And then he completes it, and they're like, "That's not a big time throw or whatever."
Yeah, it doesn't match. It doesn't fit the system. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, there's a lot of things that he's doing that people have not seen before.
Right. That's true.
So that makes sense. Okay. Mike, I got another question for you. Nick wants to know what your Super Bowl party is going to look like.
Oh, Nick, I have 3 kids, brother. I'm married with 3 kids. There's 2 dogs. I don't know if you hear the dogs scratch. I mean, to get the 45 minutes to do this is like it takes a miracle. I'm going to be in trouble when I get out of here. To be honest with you guys, and please don't bother me. Like I can take the criticism, but it's probably going to be on the phone. So as I go around the house and wipe butts and make dinner and clean up, take the dogs outside to crap, I'll have the phone like this, and my wife will be like, "You don't pay attention. You never pay attention. Why don't you?" Like, can I have the Super Bowl? Can I just have the Super Bowl? It's the Super Bowl. Just this one game.
Soul. I feel it in my soul.
That's it. So I'm sorry, Nick. That's sorry to let you down, but that's probably what my Sunday is going to look like.
All right. Well, BJ,
Chuck, how many more do we got? I'm going to be doing the same thing. I'll be running around with my kids, and they're going to be complaining that they want to put on Roblox on YouTube or something. That like it's the Super Bowl. We're watching the Super Bowl.
That's right.
Where's your iPad? Like that's what's going to come. Where's the
That's
iPad?
right. Please.
So Saturday night, charging that thing is going to be the most important thing that
That's
I do,
right.
so I can to watch the Super Bowl fully.
That's right. Oh,
We'll
that's
do the
good.
post game show.
And that's what I was going to say. We're going to be here for you after the post-game show. Maybe we haven't talked about a halftime show, but I don't know about you, BJ, but I kind of want to watch Rihanna. So
yeah.
What are you doing, Tucker?
Making the decision right now. We are not doing a halftime show.
Breaking
we are
news
going
here.
to enjoy this
Yeah.
game.
Yeah,
Tucker, you shotgunning those seltzer beers and
hey, I might. You never put it past me. We're just having a few people over at the house, just some family, close friends.
it must be great.
Watching the
And
game.
you're gonna have a great TV to watch it on, Tuck.
That's true. That's true. Shout out to Tara's mother, Phyllis, who said, "I'm coming to your house for the Super Bowl, but you guys' TV's too small." So she got us a new TV. So shout out to
That's
Phyllis.
great.
And
What a nice gift.
Yeah, it's the best. She said, "Happy birthday, happy Easter, happy everything."
That's a
I
football
said,
family. Yeah,
said,
happy everything. Yeah.
I will take it. So, yeah, that's all we got for this edition of 21 Questions. BJ, you want to close it out for us?
Sure. No, I appreciate everybody for hanging out with us. We're gonna have what did we decide? 8 more shows between now and Sunday.
Oh yeah, I think so.
We'll have 3 shows a day, completely different. I'm really, we'll leave with this tease. I'm really excited for people to check out one-on-one, not just because of what Mike and Jeff have, but we've got a special segment inside of their show announcing a new show and a new thing coming to KC Sports Network that I guarantee Chiefs fans are going to love. I'm excited about it. We've been talking about it for a little while, Mike. Now it's together. I've been talking to our guy multiple times over the last few days, and I'm excited to get it announced. His conversation with a friend of his is phenomenal. something's gonna leak out that I don't want to, so I'm
Don't
leaving
say
it right there.
Don't say it.
It's so bittersweet because I know it's going to be so much better than my show. But like, I'm so excited to watch it because it's going to be so awesome. Like, I'm so excited. Like, damn, my show sucks now, but I can't wait to see this.
No, people love your show, man. We see
Oh,
the
you
comments,
guys
we
are
get
the
the
best.
feedback all the time, and one of the best on KC Sports Network. So appreciate everybody for hanging out with us. Like I said, we'll have plenty more content getting you ready for Chiefs Eagles Super Bowl 57, and then we'll have the post game show after the Super Bowl. Hopefully, all celebrating, doing our toast game and all that fun stuff. But appreciate that, and appreciate everybody for hanging out, and appreciate Macadoodles for making this show possible. Thanks, everybody.